Hi guys, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to look at investigating this petrol engine. This is a 4-cylinder 1.4 litre Volkswagen engine, and the reason that I'm going to investigate it is primarily for the Btec Engineering Level 1, Level 2 Tech Award, and it's related to the component 2 part of that, but also for product design, anybody aspiring to become any sort of mechanic, and anybody who just wants to learn about engines and how they work and manufacturing processes, materials and components. I'm going to look at primarily the different parts of the engine, working from top to bottom here today. Then I'm going to look at how a manufacturer or somebody that designs and makes products can buy components that are proprietary or that can be used all over a range of different applications and in different components and products. And I'm going to look at how products that are specific to components that are specific to products have to be used for certain instances. Let's get into it. So at the top of the engine here we just have a plastic cover, and this covers usually your spark plugs or your glow plugs in a diesel engine. Sometimes the glow plugs will be down further so that they'll be into the actual cylinder. Here we have 4 coil packs that will actually provide the spark, provide current to the spark plug, which will give the fuel air mixture ignition. This steel cover, or this aluminium cover here, is what's called a rocker cover, and that covers what's called rockers that push down on little components, little bars that are valves that allow the air in and out of the engine, which we'll look at in a further video. Down below the rocker cover, so you can see this seam here, we have the head. So this is the cylinder head, and this covers the entire engine, and this is what basically keeps in the compression, keeps the force, manages the airflow and the fuel injection. Below this we have what's called the engine block. This is the main component of the engine, so this is what houses all the moving parts primarily, and this takes the brunt of the force when the engine's running. And below this we have what's called the sump and the oil sump. So this is where the oil gathers, and this is where it's pumped up and around the engine, and this is there's a small little sieve or filter in there as well. You can see here on these ports, these 4 little holes, black holes that you can see along here, this is where the exhaust gases will come out, and this is what's called a manifold would have been bolted onto here, and it would allow all the exhaust gases to emit outwards and into your actual exhaust system of your car or vehicle. On the other side we have the opposite, so we have another 4 ports which we can't see because of this here. So this is the manifold that is missing on the far side, so this is the intake manifold, and this here is your throttle body. This is what regulates the airflow, so there's a little valve in here, and I'll show you that again in a further video, that allows the air to either enter fully, so allow a lot of air to enter, or only a little bit. This also manages the fuel injection, so that's what this rail is here. So this will be full of petrol, and this will be injected into each of the airflow so that it can enter the cylinder and combust at the right time. So there's two little injectors missing here, which we will see again in the future, but that's what this part here is for. If we turn to this side for now, this here is what houses all the timing elements of the engine. So when the engine's moving around, we need to have everything working in sequence or in harmony with each other. So there is a mechanism usually included, it's either gears, a chain or a belt, that prevents the engine from misaligning and from hitting itself or damaging itself. So in here we can see, I'll just remove this, 2 little metal clips. You can see here we've got a belt with teeth on it, and we've got these sprockets or pulleys with teeth on it, and up here as well. So this is one set of timing, and this is another, and this makes sure that all of this is in time with the bottom of the engine. So the upper part of the engine is in time with the bottom part of the engine, and we'll see how that can actually affect performance, or how it can actually be used to enhance performance in some sort of engines. And might as well show you this. So this black cylinder here. This is what's called your oil filter, and this is what's used to filter the oil. That's in the description. When it's been circulated around your engine. So as the engine runs and as it wears down, little metal filings will build up and little tiny deposits or any debris that may get in when you're filling up your engine. And this oil filter will actually prevent that from damaging the engine. So as the oil passes through it, it will filter out the tiny particles and it will send on the clean oil, or the relatively clean oil, as it goes through. The last part of the engine I do not have on it at the moment because it makes it very difficult for me to hold it. We are missing down here on this round here, we're missing a flywheel, which is used to give the engine some momentum, so that or kinetic energy, so that it doesn't slow down and it can keep going under stress, and it just makes things run a lot smoother. Gives it a bit of what would you call it? I don't know, I'll think of it and I'll bring it up at the next step. And then the thing that bolts onto that is called a clutch, and that's what allows the power to be driven from the engine to your gearbox, and then that allows the car to move. I don't have a gearbox with me now because of the lockdown, but I do have the clutch, which I'll look at in another lesson because I think it's kind of cool how that works. But for today, I think that's it for now. There's one last pulley here actually. This pulley here is what would have driven, just turn it towards the camera. This pulley here is what would have driven your power steering pump or your alternator, which provides power to your battery and to all your electrical systems in the car. So that would run up along, the pulley's missing there, but that would run up to your alternator, which would probably be here somewhere, and that would generate the electricity that would send the current back to your battery to charge your battery, and would also allow you to start your engine, etc. Well, I hope you learned something here. There'll be more to come where I start disassembling this, and we'll look at each of the components individually, the materials, the processes used to manufacture it, and how the different manufacturing methods affect material strength, properties, and how the materials affect the strength and properties, and why the materials are used.